Hi, my name is Gerhard Gschwandtner and welcome to Selling Power TV. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with the senior members of Merrill Corporation. So why don't we start out introducing ourselves?
Yeah, my name is Todd Albright and I'm the Worldwide Head of Sales and Chief Revenue Officer for Merrill.
My name is Rusty Wiley. I'm the CEO for Merrill Corporation.
And Ryan Blackwell, Senior Vice President of Global Sales Operations.
Can you tell us about where you started? You said you started with the strategy, of course.
As a part of the interview process with the board and with the investors, I mean, it was teed up immediately that we had to deal with the sales force. We knew that we had to transition the sales force to new products. We knew we had fragmentation. We knew we had inefficiencies. We knew we had to deal with the sales force. And what I discovered relatively quickly was there was no real core strategy to the company. It just wasn't. It was a holding company strategy where you collected a portfolio of businesses, and the strategy then was, because the transaction business is so volatile, let's buy as many businesses as we can that could be countercyclical to the current portfolio. You create your grandmother's attic, and I got to this because I walked in and it was like every time I'd open a box, I'd open the box and I wasn't sure I'd know what was in there. Like I'd open one box and said, "Oh, we have 12 billing systems." Okay, I got that. I'd open another box and I'd go, "Wow, we've got 8 general ledgers." First I went to the board and said, "I'm going to sell these 5 businesses." And they kind of looked at me and said, "You've been here 60 days and you've already decided you want to sell off a third of the revenue." I said, "Yeah." I said, "They're not core, they're low margin and declining margin, they're low growth, and they're commodity. And by the way, they're not linked at all to our core value." I had to go tell them, "You've got to make a substantial investment in our technology platforms. If we're going to compete in the cloud, in content sharing, collaboration, communication, you can't have 15-year-old legacy platforms that aren't agile, that you can't adapt, it won't work." And then I took the other dimension. I took our key competitors and I said, here is how much our competitors spend on an annual basis in R&D, right? It dwarfed what Merrill had spent, right? And so I said, here's what I think you should do. I think you should sell the company. And this was the other moment where they looked at me and said, "Why did we hire you?" And they just kind of looked at me. I said, "Or you can make this investment in the core products, which will reposition us to compete, right? And then the whole company becomes like 25 times or a 30 times business, because we go from being, an atom-based business to a bit-based business, moving from printing physical documents to being a SaaS provider in the cloud for this critical connection between, the players in the ecosystem." People were hungry for vision and leadership and direction, and they were willing to put themselves, they were ready to go all in for a vision because they'd never had one.
You show up and what do you got? Well, it turns out you have incredible DNA in the company, people getting up every day in isolation, actually, in their market, instinctively competing to win. And the opportunity was just bringing that energy together. And institutionalizing is way too strong a word, but you understand where I'm going at. It was just scaling the individual energies and the individual instinct and integrity where we were going to market every day and bringing that, elevating that, and sharing it across the company. That's what's been exciting in this role, is unlocking
and I think the transition almost feels like you have college athletes that are going pro. And you are creating the team structure for that and the coaching and everything.
We don't have the problem of great sellers in this organization.
That's cool.
Our problem is giving those sellers not just more enablement, but more things to sell. We've got the relationships built. We've got the pipes built. It's all about what can we get down that funnel. And so it's an outside-in mandate. You start at the tip of the spear, which is listening to the voice of the customer. That's complemented by the view of our sales organization and our service organization, and that's what informs everything that we do. So where we are right now as a company is kind of just getting individuals on site to say, "Hey, how can I make you successful in your market right now?"
These sellers historically have been doing this without the framework. And so to your point, you mentioned things about mindset, skill set, and tool set. So think about that 3-legged stool that you mentioned.
Yeah, they have the right mindset and they have the right skill set. Now you're supporting them with the right tool set, they make them better.
Think about removing 2 legs. We weren't giving them skills other than the ones they had. and then take away the tool set.
Right.
And now they had to lean on one leg for years and years.
Right.
What's beautiful about this is, to your point, and some of the things that you've been bringing up with this mindset, skill set, and tool set, we're giving them 2 legs of the stool back.
That's right.
And now we have a functional chair.
But also you're giving them transparency where people know where they stand. You create that standard for everybody where they say, I'm in the mid 60, or I'm in the top 20, and then they will understand how they get to the top.
We'll set this place on fire when we create that level of transparency on a consistent basis, even just from a performance perspective.
Let's focus on the transformation from a platform perspective. What's your vision for creating sales operations that empowers and enable salespeople at the same time facilitates that transformation of the product?
We're really bringing it back to standard and tearing down the silos, right? That will go a long way in creating the efficiency to build off of from an enable perspective. Giving visibility into how we can holistically move to this selling model right away creates collaboration. It forces the behavior. And we witnessed it here, even the conversations that were happening. We're just going to support the strategy from an ops perspective with simplicity and visibility. We could spend just time and months and quarters doing just that before we start getting into the complex stuff. And so from an ops perspective, our goal is just simply, and I have an ops code for my team, and that is, if all else fails, see number 1. And number 1 is increase revenue per sales head.
Right.